Here I am, another day, staring at my morning coffee, waiting to log in to yet another shift. I had been sick as a dog all day and feeling utterly exhausted and knowing I couldn't afford to call in sick. And I realized this coffee, this tiny moment, was the best part of my day. Is this what my life has come to? I've given myself 90 days to reinvent myself. In this series, we're gonna get real. We're gonna go deep to help you transform and design the life you actually want. Step by step, week by week, I'm gonna be trying out different techniques to design a blueprint to help you transform your life into what you've always wanted. This entire series was inspired by a quote by Carl Jung, but if you have nothing at all to create, then perhaps you create yourself. Isn't that kind of awesome? For so long, I've been obsessed with finding that perfect career, perfect identity, the perfect path, instead of creating a version of me that feels aligned and fulfilled, feels good to me, and not worrying about how it looks to others. Because at the end of the day, no one is going to live this life but me. So make a list of the characteristics of your future or best you. I don't even like saying future, let's say the best version of you. What I did is I actually have a guidebook where I've added, and it's been put through the ringer, where I've added all the characteristics, and I can read this every day and I can ask myself, how am I embodying this person? What action steps can I take today that align with the person that I want to be? Okay, so stop what you're doing, take 5 minutes or an hour, and just really think. Write down all of the characteristics, dream big. There's no limits here, right? Because you are the one that's in control. So write down, in your ideal life, how would you be? How would you act? What would you embody? And remember, when you're making this list, it's to be the most aligned, authentic you. It's not about following the trends or what other people expect of you. It's in alignment with your values and what really lights you up. A big part of reinventing yourself is changing your habits and your environment to align with who you want to be, this ideal version of you. So here's how I'm starting. What I did is I simply scaled different aspects of my life and I gave myself a score from 1 to 10. I know there are many different ways to do this. Honestly, it's just about sitting down and being like, what are your values? And based on that, how would you score yourself in different categories? So say one of your values is family and relationships, but you keep putting off spending time with your family for work or other things that keep constantly coming up. So in this case, would you really want to give yourself a score of 10 out of 10 if you're not really aligning to what you say is important to you? And I know if you're here, probably self-actualization is one of your values, and so when to improve yourself, to grow, are you reading? Are you really taking action on those things that are in alignment with yourself, or do you keep letting self-sabotaging and self-limiting beliefs take the lead? Once you've scored yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 in those different categories, I want you to then write down some action steps that you can take to bring up that number. And don't worry, you don't have to do all of them in the next 3 months. Okay, this is just so that we have it out of our minds and onto paper. So this is, honestly, it doesn't have to be fancy. I just did mine on a piece of paper, what my current score is and where I would like it to be. And then on here, I just wrote what steps I could take for each of them. You can do this in Notion or on a piece of paper. The main thing is that we're doing a life audit. In order to map out what we're gonna do, we need to know our starting point and where we'd like to be, okay? From those different categories, I want you to pick 1 or 2 that you're gonna focus on in the next 90 days, and preferably ones that you didn't score as high so that we can bring them up over the next 90 days. It's not to say that we're going to ignore the other categories. They just won't be our primary focus in the next 3 months. For example, I would like to be more put together when it comes to my clothes, but it's not something that I'm focusing on in the next 3 months. So on my list, some of the small action steps I can do is create a mood board, sell some of my old or donate some of my old clothes, declutter. So these are things when I have a spare moment, I can go and say, okay, this is something that's important to me. I could take these small action steps and check mark them to be one, to move towards my ideal. Because at the end of the day, remember, you are in charge of your life and you get to decide who you want to be and how you want to show up. Using the information from your 90-day tracker, you're going to pick 3 things that you will be tracking in the next 90 days. For myself, for example, one of them is deep work. I will get into the meaning of deep work in another video if that's something you're interested in, and that's 90 minutes of deep work daily. The second thing I'm tracking is my spiritual hygiene, and I know that sounds a bit odd. Essentially what I'm wanting to do is that each day I am either meditating, journaling, gratitude work, mirror work. So we are marrying the action with the energetic work, and that is something that's important to me. It doesn't need to be important to you. You do what works for you. The third thing is I'm tracking my abundance. Yes, and you heard me correctly. I'm not tracking my finances. I am tracking the abundance in my life, because what you measure grows. I came across this concept in the book by Denise Duffield, Get Rich Lucky Bee. Currently trying some of her manifestation techniques, and I will report back once I go through them, but one of them is tracking your abundance every single day. So that is what I'm doing. And so those are the 3 things that I'm going to be tracking in these 90 days. So I want you to stop, do your life audit, write down those action steps, and then we're going to pick 3 things that we're tracking. And so that you don't have to go out and create a 90-day tracker, in the description, I've added my 90-day tracker that you can download and use if you are like me and you like to actually physically check mark and X things out. Otherwise, I'm sure you can use Notion or even your Note app. Do whatever works for you and whatever will help you stay consistent. I put mine in the bathroom so that at the end of every night I can go through and check mark what's been done and what hasn't. So we need to keep a scorecard so to hold us accountable and to know that we're on track when we do our weekly reviews. I have scheduled out weekly reviews for myself on Sunday evenings or Monday mornings so that I could see, okay, what did I do, what went well the week ahead, what can I adjust going forward. At the end of the day, this is just experimentation. There's no failure, okay? We're just I want you to also have fun with this. It's only for you. No one's out here scoring you or telling you how you're doing. Keep myself accountable and a bit more organized. I went ahead and did some time blocking with my calendar so that my calendar reflects the habits that I want to have. And every morning when I wake up, it's just a matter of looking at my calendar and following that in terms of what I need to do. Of course, I know there's going to be moments where I'm going to need to deviate. I'm also going to track what I actually end up doing so that I could better create a calendar and a system that works for me. And I would recommend you guys do the same. I'm also going to be doing a weekly review. So every Sunday evening or Monday morning, sitting down and looking at what actually worked, what didn't, how many hours I spent, where I got distracted, and we'll just keep adjusting. And for those of you that are following along and doing a 90-day transformation with me, and I want you to know you start whenever you're ready. It doesn't matter if it's the first of the month. I started mine on a Tuesday. Like usually I would be like, oh, I can't do that. I can't start on a Tuesday. It has to be a Monday. It has to be the beginning of the month. Start whenever. Mine started on October 1st. Just because it's easier for me to track that way, and I want to accomplish all of my goals before the new year. But if you're watching this in February or March, start today. Not put this off any longer. You made it to this part. You are well on your way to reinventing yourself. Over the next 90 days, I'm going to be experimenting with different manifestation techniques, creating new habits, and embracing this fail forward mindset. Every single week, we're going to tackle new strategies and methods to see what works and what doesn't. And if this sounds interesting to you, subscribe and let's build our dream lives together. Not trying to be a carbon copy of anybody else. Because at the end of the day, it's not about becoming someone else, it's about becoming the truest, fullest, most aligned version of yourself. You owe it to yourself to try. You are never too young or too old. This is your permission slip to let go of those limiting beliefs and old habits and step into the best, truest version of yourself, whatever you deem that is. Please, please, please remember, it doesn't matter how your life looks to somebody else. It is how it feels to you. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about daring to fail and daring to take the first step. And if you'd like to know more about how to design your environment and being more accountable to yourself, you'll love this episode. I love you guys, and I'm wishing you all love and abundance. Till next time, ciao.